Hi, this is Giulianna. You can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Giulianna, and I'm so honored to be here in the Good Day Project podcast. A special applause for Sofia Casinei that made all this possible. It's truly a remarkable initiative.
You too, you too. You do so much for the branch in Honduras. It's amazing. So tell me a little bit about that. How does your branch work? How is it different from the US branch? How did you start it? Tell me.
Perfect. So basically, this is a branch that builds on the vision that Sophia has over there in the Good Day main branch in the US, which focuses obviously in emotional intelligence and recognizing exactly our best moments, our worst moments, and learning from that, especially with the stresses of everyday life. And what we focalize on is on a marginalized community over here in Honduras in which some abandoned children they face hardships because they haven't had an official ID. They don't have any identification from their parents, and most of them they are dependent on the state. Therefore, we focus on nourishing them with the same vision, just in different ways tailored to their age group.
Yeah. So how did you, for example, the whole main cause of the project is basically like spreading positivity and like making sure that people learn the importance of acknowledging their emotions. How did you implement that vision into something like that, that it focuses on a specific branch of children? How do you make them go forward with the project and involve them in it?
Absolutely. So we have to take into consideration that some of them are ages from 3 to 8 years old, even one that's 12, but they haven't had a proper education, so they can't even understand what a color is. And so
Mhm.
we're teaching them back to the basics, and we use various activities like scavenger hunts and we're trying to implement all these types of motor skills. One time we did an activity which was with an egg cartons to help them mobilize and understand. For example, all of them were painted green. So they had to see the color and identify it. Every single time they did that, we are starting to foster a connection between colors and, of course, emotions because our big aim is to help them understand how they feel and to tell them, for example, hey, today I feel orange, today I feel green.
Mhm.
We're teaching them on the basis on green is happiness, orange is overwhelmed or nervous, and then red is, okay, I'm going through something, I need some help. And so for them, it's really fundamental to go back to the basics and start from zero, absolutely zero. Yeah.
And have you seen any like change in the environment when you have implemented this type of education regarding the emotions? Have you seen any change, any positive change with how the kids manage themselves with themselves, between each other, with you, with the place that they're at? Do you see like a better environment when it comes to maybe the interactions, or now maybe it's a more positive feeling? Do you notice a change in that based on this project?
Of course, I think it was almost immediate because once we started implementing some flashcard techniques, especially for them to learn the colors, the next day we came back and they were really excited to share their knowledge. They were saying, oh, your shirt is such color, for example, red color. And so that means you might be angry. And so
Hmm.
we started getting these types of misconceptions. We are slowly trying to rule them out. But of
Yeah.
course, they're now associating colors with emotions. And the last time I went, um, there's obviously some inner conflicts among them because they're just children. So
Yeah.
sometimes they fight over silly things like who has the cutest teddy bear. And so they usually got that in a very, for example, confrontation way. But now they're more respectful. And the other day, I witnessed a conversation between a 3-year-old girl and a 6-year-old girl, and they were saying, no, today I feel orange. So I think it would be best for you to give me that teddy bear so I don't become red. So we can really see that progression and how they're
Yeah.
identifying it throughout this project.
No,
So,
that's
yes.
great. I definitely, that's mainly the whole point of this thing, of this whole project. And even if it's like in a specific place, like you were doing, or if it's like at my school, like how I'm doing, basically the point is to spread the message, like the importance of how important it is, especially now in the world, how it is, like how important it is to interact with each other and understand what we're feeling and accepting, especially like what other people are feeling as well, in the sense of maybe I may not agree with you, but I understand how you're feeling and I will make you understand. Like, I will tell you how I feel based on what you're telling me. So I feel like that interaction sadly has to be encouraged. It's not natural, but we're just humans, and I mean that's basically us humans. We can also fix it as well. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You're a student. You're a senior. You're also going through the stress of, college applications and things like that. How do you feel the pressure? Like, does it does it affect you when it comes to mental health? Does it give you anxiety? How do you manage that?
Honestly, um, you're a big inspiration to me because you're so open about how to deal with emotions. And honestly, the Good Day Project, all your social medias, they have been fundamental in me helping myself through my own
Thank you.
process, to be honest. Because yes, I definitely think there's a really cruel stigmatization of like either the pressure of test scores, either the pressure of where you're applying, or just people trying to ask you where you want to go or if you have a
Yeah.
dream school. And so I think it's a very sensible stage we're going through because sometimes I wake up like in the middle of the night and it's kind of scary because like next year I will not be in school anymore. I will not know my friends anymore. I don't even know where. And so that ultimately leads to a huge change, I think, also in my school's atmosphere because everybody's focusing like on everyone and also themselves because I think it is a very social process. What do you think? Have you had the same take on it?
No, yeah, I definitely agree. I think me personally, even though it has happened to me, I don't know if it has happened to you, that I'm not actively in like a stressful situation, but I feel stressed because of everything that's going on. And I don't necessarily need to be doing something or be involved in something stressful in order to feel stressed. And I've learned that definitely the things start calling back to you and you will eventually, explode or whatever it is. And yeah, I definitely think it's a process that's it's very bittersweet because in the sense of you want to be independent and you're going to start doing the things that you like to do, whether that be studying what you want to study or going where you want to go, whatever it is. But it also, like, you're leaving a lot of things behind, and it's the uncertainty of you don't know in a year from now where you're going to be, what you're going to do. I feel that also makes me personally lose a little stability because I'm not sure, like, now I have my friends, I have my family and things like that, but in a year from now, maybe I won't. And I don't know. I feel it's not right for me to get accustomed to what I'm having right now because in a year I'm probably not gonna have it. But I don't know. I think it's a moment that everybody has to go through at some point in their life, but I feel that you really don't know how it feels until you're in it. I've noticed that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like it's like being in an earthquake because everything is shaking, but sometimes you don't feel the earthquake. And
Yeah.
so it's like you're seeing your surrounding and sometimes like even peer pressure, like everyone talking about applications,
Yeah.
everyone in that type of stressful situation, your family asking you, hey,
Did you do this? Did you do that?
what do you want to study? Exactly. And so I
Yeah.
think it is like a mix of pressure and also your own perception, but I think like you slowly become more resilient because you stop any type of pressure you have going on and sometimes you have to like take some time for yourself and reflect,
Yeah.
hey, this process is me, I don't know if you've
Yeah.
had the same experience.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like right now, especially, I started to prioritize myself a lot more after. I mean, I have created like a schedule and where I say, okay, I'm gonna do this for 2 hours and then I'm gonna take the rest of the day free because I feel I'm not gonna do the things that I need to do if I'm not okay. Because
Mhm.
a lot of people, I mean, it works for some people that they just do everything in one on the go and they just get it out. But for me, I need to, have a block in which I refresh myself and then go back and do it how I should do it in the sense of I do it with a fresh mind and things like that. But I understand that everybody has different approaches when it comes to things like this, studying or test or whatever it is. And speaking of like interactions and stuff that we were speaking about before, you also have your own project culture. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How does it work?
Yes, so I like to take the metaphor of like culture is like a garden because now that it's international, it's basically planting a seed. So in this case, it would be like a club within a school, and then associating back to the culture network in which I work to coordinate among other schools, which school would be the best fit
Mhm.
for your school. And from then on, we take international collaborations digitally. Some of them have even become present in
Really?
a present, yes, in a presential manner, which I'm really happy about. But mostly it's in the same continent type.
Yeah.
And so we're working hard on that. Our vision is mostly to remove any stereotypes and cultural misunderstandings. Intercultural communication is something I'm really passionate about.
How do you feel being in Honduras and having, in this sense, the control over so many interactions between people in the world? I understand that you have people in China, you have people in India, you have people in the US. How do you feel? Like, does it feel, do you feel a certain good pressure knowing that you created all of this, or does it feel like, oh, maybe, I need to take this into account? What has happened with that?
Honestly, at first it was daunting because in the emails I was sending and in the negotiations I often have, like, I'm not, it doesn't sound like I'm a very credible source because I'm a student, I'm a senior
Hmm.
in a high school in a third world country in Honduras, and most of the countries I'm contacting don't even know where Honduras is located
Yeah.
on an map. And so that brings me at a disadvantage, but I've learned to take that disadvantage and make it like my advantage because everyone should know where every single country is.
Hmm.
And fostering that cultural connection in such a globalized world, it has really taught me that although pressure can be seen like a bad thing, especially when you have superintendents emailing you, "Hey, I need the
Yeah.
schedule for tomorrow." I've learned to enjoy it. I'm really passionate about it, and honestly, I I absolutely love the stress that it comes with connecting people because it's not only the survey results that we collect, but it's also those like unspoken moments, like a
Yeah.
girl saying, "Hey, I feel more comfortable talking in Sosa than I do in Spanish." And that's perfectly fine. I love those connections they have. And when they just like start debating about football and they're from Ecuador and the other person is from South Africa, it's truly remarkable.
With your interactions, you have created it in a way that it's very interactive. I know that you've done things like Kahoots or like games and things like that. How do you feel like that allows the impact to be even greater, especially with kids our age or kids with that are a little younger than us? Do you feel that doing it in a way that they can enjoy and understand really betters the impact of what you're trying to do, especially like in the Good Day project too, knowing doing it with colors and things like that are things that are easy to understand with people their age that you're working with. Do you feel that the way that you approach a situation or the way that you approach a project betters the impact that you're trying to make or impacts the impact, if you understand what I mean?
Yes, of course. 100%. I totally understand you, and it is totally true. The way you approach a project, for example, in the Good Day project, I have to employ certain techniques that I wouldn't in culture because in culture I have an older audience of students, mostly high
Hmm.
school students. And in Nouriva, I have in the branch, I have students that aren't necessarily students, they're children. And
Hmm.
so we really have to take that into account and always stimulating that interaction because I think right now with artificial intelligence surging and all those types of replacement for social connection, it is really imperative that we take that into consideration because at the end of the day, no one can replace human connection. And knowledge, it is interchangeable. And the way we interchange it, I think can definitely cause a huge impact.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. I think AI, especially now when it comes to like assignments and stuff, or maybe careers, us now that we're approaching college as well, we also, it's scary that we have to take into account, okay, what can I do that AI will not replace in 5 years? And it's something that taking that into account is like, wait, has it really gotten that bad? Is it that serious? Like, if I become an architect, will AI in 5 years create something that will maybe not make architects so important anymore. Teachers right now, you can see it as well that they have implemented so many regulations when it comes to AI and assignments and things like that. And I feel like that also I've heard a lot of things coming when it comes to AI and its relationship with critical thinking. And I feel like you said, human interactions cannot be replaced by AI. I feel like critical thinking cannot be replaced either because that's what makes us human in the sense of I created this idea of the project or whatever, and maybe AI can help me implement it in the sense of, oh, help me choose a name for the project or help me choose, like, can you check this social media post for me or whatever it is. But the idea behind it comes from critical thinking and a purpose and an emotional attachment. Do you feel like in school, for example, that you see AI is growing or in other careers like that, do you feel like that critical thinking is going away?
Absolutely. Like I have heard of various instances and people sometimes really struggle even writing on paper. A teacher once in a class mentioned that how she had trouble teaching the ninth grade students on, like, for example, how to indent or
Hmm.
how to use proper formatting skills on paper or how to even like dialogue an idea written down. Because I think right now, since AI has become like a powerhouse tool, it hasn't yet become it in like an audio type sense, but more
Hmm.
in a written sense. Because
Yeah.
they can generate they can generate ideas really quickly, but for dialoguing, I think it's still under development, but it isn't as frequently used. And so I think going back and using pen and paper, honestly, is the best way to cultivate our ideas. And it has totally taken a toll on like emotional identification and everything
Hmm.
because you start like generalizing. You start sometimes using dopamine boosts when you don't even think you are, like through social
Yeah.
media. And so you don't really recognize what you're feeling at that moment. Yeah.
Speaking of social media, do you feel like, especially in the community that we are in right now, when it's like 17, 18-year-olds that we are on our prime of teenagers, going out with friends, socializing and things like that, do you feel like social media has a both a positive and a negative impact? And if so, what do you think is more prominent?
I think it's a give and take situation because although it does help for new ideas to surge, it can
Yeah.
also it can also like make some boundaries between, for example, patents or even like authenticity. And
Hmm.
then it becomes a problem. Plus like image fostering right now, especially since we're approaching our adult years almost, it's a really make or break situation because we're also starting our own identity.
Yeah.
And so not having like that foundation of, hey, this is who I am, and just like submerging yourself into social media, I think can definitely affect how you are later in life.
Yeah.
What do you
Do
think?
I agree. I feel like, especially with the things that social media I have heard has created when it comes to physical interactions, in the sense of maybe, oh, I won't go see you, I'll just FaceTime you. Or maybe oh, she's so pretty. I want to be like her. And then I start feeling bad about myself. I do feel like social media has the power to do that, and that's a negative impact. However, I also feel like social media can have a positive impact with things like the ones that we're doing, like culture and the Good Day Project that can also help it spread. I feel like if you use it correctly, it could be a really good tool for you when it comes to if you know how to express what you want your mission and vision to be. I feel it really depends on the person that is managing it. I mean, I I I don't know. I personally I am on social media, but I don't personally post anything or whatever. But I have heard of some people, for example, when it comes to celebrities or things like that, that the one thing that they post, some people take it one way, some people take it the other way. So I do feel like it could be controversial, but I feel like it also creates a sense of unity. Like you said, it's a give or take situation. It depends. I mean, I share a lot of my friends on social media. I've met a lot of people, so I think it can also help with interactions. I it really depends on how you use it and who is using it as well. But
Exactly.
speaking of the social aspect, living in Honduras, and I know that, for example, I am Latina. I know that Latinos tend to have like they're very friendly, they have a lot of friends, they're very close to the family and things like that. Do you feel like you have that sense of unity in your friends with your friend group? What do you think creates that?
Absolutely. I think maybe it's the way we're brought up
Yeah.
because for example, in December, especially for Christmas, like we all get dressed up and everything just to be like in the living room and just talking with each other.
Yeah.
And I think it's like something, that's ancestral and also like the tendency we have been brought up. It's the traditions, the customs, while other, types of families or circumstances where they are more multiculturally diverse, they have different upbringings too, and they have different traditions. So I think it's like make it your own because it also, some families have little quirks that others don't.
Yeah, of
And so,
course.
yeah.
When it comes to episodes like this, like the college application era and things like that, that is mainly a you thing that you're building your own path. How do you feel like your friends and your family have supported you on that? How do you feel that even though it's a thing that you're doing for yourself, it's something that you all of you have in common? It's a very weird thing. How do you interact with your friends about that? How do you all feel about that? Are you all stressed? How do you manage uh difficult episodes or things that I don't know, maybe I didn't get the test score that I wanted, or maybe I did. How do you manage that, especially with your friends and your social community?
I think that it's definitely like everyone supports everyone, but also there's like some boundaries
Yeah, of
because you can't ask like someone like their financial circumstances or
course.
something. But I think deep down, everybody in my school is really supportive, honestly. They're really great people. And if you ask anyone, they will most likely sit down with you and even like help you edit your college essay, you know? So it's that type of unity I think that has been formed since we were like in kindergarten that really reveals like who we are as a community also. And my parents know they are like my pillars of support. I think you can agree on that.
Yeah,
It's definitely like a community project. It's sometimes I don't know what to write, and I just ask my mom, Mom, you know me best. Like, how can I approach this question? And she absolutely understands me. She starts brainstorming with me. I think it's a total like collective process, but it's also it's your destiny, I think. Like, of course, you can do stuff to influence it. I absolutely, totally think that. But there's also some things that it's like, if things don't go your way, it's for a purpose.
hmm,
And at the end of the day, it is a community project. Everybody's helping each other, but each fate is going to be different. And although it is in our hands, if things don't go our way, it's for a purpose and it's because somehow we're gonna end up in the right place at the right time with the right people.
yeah.
And yeah.
In working with kids that unfortunately don't have the same social circumstances as we do, how do you think that this project can help them build this community that you are describing yourself, that we have fortunately grown up with, but kids like them that we are stepping in order to help them build this community? How do you feel like your presence in their life and this project impact is helping them build this community among themselves? What do you think is impacting that? Even if it's not the emotions part and things like that, do you feel that them, even if it's growing up in a circumstance that's unfortunate, do you think that that growing up together will make them feel more socially communicated?
Absolutely. I think it's because they only have themselves in life,
Yeah.
that small group, because yeah. And so I think us, by giving them the tools through the branch, it's helping them work out that group. Because although at first when I met them, they did have some issues like dialoguing problems that are nonsensical. For example, the teddy bear situation, which
Yeah.
is completely normal. But with us giving them the tools, I think they're starting to understand each other even more. So it's not no longer like, okay, I will interact with you because you live with me. But now it's, I want to interact with you, and this is my reasoning behind it.
Hmm.
Because they're not learning to coexist, but they are learning to live in harmony with each other. And I think they really balance themselves out really nicely. And I think totally through the Good Day Project, this has been possible. And they are super grateful. They absolutely, sometimes I talk to them about your work in the US and they absolutely love it. They get so excited. They cheer you on every single day. And yeah, honestly, this is a great initiative. I think we're definitely fostering that community sense you aspire so much to create within young people and just these nowadays circumstances.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm very glad that what we're planning on doing and what our mission is on doing is definitely working out, especially in greater ways than we ever thought possible. I feel like, especially with meetings like this, or just a simple grab a note in the door, or just what you were doing, I feel like every single thing can make an impact to someone else. And the other day I saw a post that a friend made that she pulled out one of the notes that was on the thing, and it was a quote from a song that said, "If life is a movie, then you're the best part." And she posted it and she's like, "The good project healed me." I'm like, stop. I was so happy because that's the first time that I've felt that I've actually created something that can have a greater impact on something good. So, how do you feel personally knowing that you're also fostering this on these kids? How do you feel like you're going to go away from to college knowing that you made such a big impact, especially internationally? How does that make you feel, and how will you foster that in the future?
Absolutely, it feels amazing. I think, like you said, it's like a remarkable thing. I'm so proud of you, honestly, too,
So, you too.
because it has been amazing. It has been a wild ride. But honestly, I don't want to stop. I think even if I'm in college, I will still continue to do culture. I'll still help out the Honduras branch,
Yeah.
because I think the beautiful thing about Impact is that it makes you feel full, and it also like it helps you discover what your passions are in life. And no matter their circumstances, like a year from now, I like it's kind of crazy to say,
Yeah.
but we'll be in college, doing like our purpose in life and following our passions. And honestly, you're full on right on saying that that impact and that way you impacted someone and they thanked you for it, or
Yeah.
you just saw that growth, it will never leave you. It's a part of who you are.
I feel it's very I feel like it's very, I feel very wrong in saying that I feel good about doing this because it's not for me. Do you understand what I mean? I feel like
Exactly.
it's something that I created in order for it to impact others, but it's also benefiting me, but I don't want that. Like I don't want it to be about you created this or you did this and I thank you for it. I feel like it's needed and it was needed, and I don't know, now, especially how I mentioned before that the world, it is how it is. I feel like this human interaction and this human understanding of emotions is needed. And I just helped in creating that, and you helped in creating that. So I feel like that is actually what makes the impact, that is us doing it not for us, but for someone else. So I definitely feel like that marks the difference between, oh yeah, I'm doing this just because, I need it for college or whatever, or we're doing this because it's something that's bigger than us, or we're gonna go to college and still do it, or like leave someone in charge of it. I feel like that's what makes me feel the most proud of it. But yeah, that's it's an amazing feeling. And I definitely encourage anyone to start a project for themselves, even if it's not like a social thing. It could be like, I don't know, if you want to be an architecture, how to choose your career path, something that has nothing to do with what you want to do. I feel like that's also something that I want to do. Interior design has nothing to do with psychology. I mean, kind of, but like like social interactions and positive psychology. Do you feel like what do you want to study when you go to college?
Honestly, I want to study law. I want to study international law.
Hmm.
So for me, it's pretty cohesive. I love
Yeah.
intercultural communication and everything. So I definitely want to do international law and everything that has to do with like human rights. I absolutely
Yeah.
love that. And
Speak.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Speaking about that, now that we're going into college, and I feel like this will be the last point that we can make because it's almost over. But speaking now that we're going into college, do you feel like even though you want to focus on specific thing, it is important? Is it important to know about other things as well? Like generally having knowledge about, I don't know, mathematics or things like this, like psychology or whatever it is. How do you feel like that the knowledge of culture when it comes to education, how do you feel like that will benefit you in your work life or your future life?
absolutely. I think like every single aspect we have, like even school, it is designed in such a way that we grow up with the same people and we learn to love them. We learn to tolerate them. I can proudly say that I really love all my classmates. And I'm really proud of that because although we don't think it's necessary, or sometimes we see it like as a huge fuss, like, oh, I hate going to school. It's so early
Mm-hmm.
in the morning. But we're also building that consistency and we're getting to know people. We're practicing patience. We're practicing also like calculus or other mathematical forms that not only help us like problem solve, but it also helps us like identify the question,
Yeah.
identify the problem and the problem sets and everything. And so I think it's like it applies to everything because even in the Good Day project, when you're doing that, the little fragments, you're working your artistic skills there.
Yeah.
You're working your critical thinking, like which fragment would fit the part and that would make someone's day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's a beautiful mosaic of like every single perception and every single skill we have just mixed into one beautiful project wrapped with a ribbon called the Good Day Project.
Yeah. And culture. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate that you took the time to chat with me, chat with the people that are watching this. And I hope that you take your own words and keep on going with this project. And in the sense of like you take your own advice and keep on going with this amazing project that you're building, both culture and the Good Day Project. And yeah, anything else you want to say?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here, Sophia.
Of
And I
course.
really hope you the best during this hectic stage. But for
You
anyone
too.
watching, I hope you have a wonderful day and go follow the Good Day Project.
And culture. Bye.
Yes. Bye.